Dust motes danced in the pale moonlight filtering through the grimy windows. Ethan shivered, pulling his jacket tighter. The air hung heavy, thick with the silence of ages. They stood in a classroom untouched by time, desks neatly arranged, books piled on shelves. But something was terribly wrong. Skeletal remains, small and delicate, rested upon each wooden seat, their hollow sockets staring blankly ahead.
This is horrible,
Maya whispered, her voice trembling. Mark swallowed hard, his gaze sweeping the room.
What happened here?
He breathed, fear prickling his skin. They had stumbled upon this room by accident, a hidden chamber behind a crumbling wall in the old schoolhouse. Now, surrounded by the silent testament of a tragedy long past, they were trapped in a nightmare. A soft sigh echoed in the stillness. The three friends spun around, hearts pounding. Standing by the window bathed in moonlight was a young girl. Her white dress flowed around her like mist. Her long black hair cascaded down her back, and her eyes, wide and luminous, held an ancient sorrow.
Who are you?
Ethan choked out, taking a step back. The girl glided towards them, her feet not seeming to touch the ground.
I am one of them, trapped here by the Collector.
The Collector? Who is that?
The ghostly girl's eyes filled with tears.
He was a teacher here. He craved immortality, believed he could cheat death.
She pointed a translucent finger at the skeletal remains.
He used them, their life force, in a dark ritual.
He sacrificed them.
Maya gasped. The girl nodded slowly.
He believed their innocence held the key to eternal life.
Ethan felt a chill crawl down his spine.
But the ritual failed?
He asked, dreading the answer. The girl's form flickered, her sadness intensifying.
Yes, it failed. And in his failure, he doomed himself and these poor souls. He became something else, something dark and vengeful. He became the Collector, forever bound to this place, forever seeking what he could never have.
We have to get out of here. This place, it's evil. The air feels thick, like it's pressing down on us. Every shadow seems to be watching, waiting. We shouldn't have come here. We need to leave before it's too late.
As if to emphasize her words, the air grew colder, the shadows in the room seeming to deepen and writhe. It was as if the very walls were alive, breathing with a malevolent energy. The temperature dropped rapidly, and a chilling breeze swept through the room, carrying with it whispers of the past. Mark noticed a book lying open on a desk, its pages covered in faded ink. He picked it up, recognizing the archaic script. The book seemed to pulse with a dark energy, its pages whispering secrets of a time long forgotten. He could feel the weight of its history, the countless hands that had turned its pages before him.
It's a diary, the Collector's diary. This could be the key to understanding what happened here. The pages are filled with notes, drawings, and symbols. It's like a map of his descent into madness.
He began to read aloud, his voice echoing in the silent room. The diary entry spoke of the ritual, the desperation of a man clinging to life, the horrifying moment when everything went wrong. The words painted a vivid picture of the Collector's final moments, his fear and regret palpable through the ink.
He writes of a key to contain the spirits he had unleashed to set things right. If we can find this key, we might be able to undo the damage, to put the spirits to rest and escape this nightmare.
He slammed the book shut, a sense of urgency gripping him. The weight of their task was clear. They had to act quickly, before the spirits grew too powerful to contain. The room seemed to close in around them, the shadows pressing closer, as if aware of their intentions.
We have to find that key. It could be hidden anywhere in this house, among the countless relics and artifacts. We need to search every corner, every hidden space. Time is running out, and the spirits are growing restless. We can't afford to fail.
A low growl echoed around them, the sound seeming to come from the walls themselves. The room began to shift, the desks and chairs rattling, the floor beneath their feet trembling.
He knows we're here. He's angry.
The moonlight filtering through the windows dimmed, plunging the room into an oppressive darkness. Panic welled up inside Ethan.
We're trapped!
Ethan cried out, his voice echoing in the suffocating gloom. Maya grabbed his hand, her grip surprisingly strong.
We have to stay calm. We can't let him win.
Mark, his eyes adjusting to the darkness, noticed a faint glow coming from the back of the room.
Over there, I see something.
They stumbled towards the glow, their hearts pounding in their chests. Each step felt like an eternity, the darkness around them pressing in, suffocating. The faint light was their only beacon of hope in the oppressive gloom. The growling grew louder, closer, sending shivers down their spines. It was as if the shadows themselves were alive, creeping ever nearer, their sinister whispers echoing through the hallway. Fear gripped them, but they pressed on, driven by desperation.
They reached the source of the light, a lantern, miraculously still lit, hanging on a hook near a boarded-up doorway. The flickering flame cast eerie shadows on the walls, but it was a welcome sight amidst the darkness. The lantern's glow was a small miracle, a sign that they were on the right path.
A hidden room. It was a discovery that filled them with a mix of hope and dread. What secrets did it hold? What dangers lurked within? They had no choice but to find out.
Mark breathed, hope flickering in his voice. "This could be it," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding of his heart. The possibility of finding what they were searching for gave him the strength to continue. He raced towards it, throwing his weight against the rotting wood. The door groaned under the pressure, the old boards creaking and splintering. Each push brought them closer to their goal. The boards splintered and cracked, revealing a small, dusty space beyond. The air was thick with the scent of decay, but it was a new space, a new hope. They had to see what lay inside.
Quickly! The urgency in his voice was unmistakable. Time was running out, and they couldn't afford to waste a single second.
Ethan urged, pushing Maya through the opening. "Go! Go!" he insisted, his eyes darting around nervously. The sense of danger was palpable, and they had to move fast. He followed close behind, Mark bringing up the rear, the lantern casting long, dancing shadows on the walls. The flickering light created an almost surreal atmosphere, the shadows seeming to come alive as they moved. The growling stopped abruptly, replaced by an eerie silence that was somehow more terrifying. The sudden quiet was unnerving, as if the darkness itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next move. They were safe for now. The brief respite allowed them to catch their breath, but they knew it wouldn't last. The danger was still out there, lurking in the shadows, but they knew the Collector was out there, lurking, waiting. The thought of him sent chills down their spines. He was a relentless hunter, and they were his prey, and they still hadn't found the key. The key was their only hope of escape, the only way to unlock the secrets that could save them. The search was far from over, and the clock was ticking.
The key!
Ethan exclaimed, rushing forward. He reached for it, his fingers closing around the cold metal. As soon as he touched it, the lantern flickered, casting grotesque shadows that danced across the walls. The air grew heavy, charged with a strange energy. They could feel it now, a presence in the room with them, cold and malevolent.
"He's here."
The ghostly girl whispered, her voice trembling.
"He knows you have the key."
Mark pushed Ethan towards the door.
"Hurry, open it!"
He urged, his voice tight with urgency. Ethan fumbled with the key, his hands shaking. The growling started again, closer this time, vibrating through the floor, up their legs, into their very bones. The key finally turned with a grinding click. The iron door swung inwards with a groan, revealing a dark, narrow passage beyond. The air was thick with the scent of damp stone and the faint echo of distant water dripping. It was a passage that seemed to stretch into the unknown, a path that promised both danger and the hope of freedom.
"This way." Mark's voice was urgent, almost a whisper, as if afraid that the very walls might hear them. He pointed towards the passage, his eyes wide with determination and fear.
Mark shouted, pushing Maya and Ethan towards the opening. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat a reminder of the precious seconds slipping away. They had to move quickly or risk being caught. As they scrambled through, a cold wind slammed the door shut behind them with a resounding clang. The sound echoed through the passage, a finality that sent shivers down their spines. They were now truly on their own. They were plunged into darkness, the lantern falling to the floor with a clatter. The sound was deafening in the silence, a stark reminder of their vulnerability. The darkness was almost tangible, wrapping around them like a suffocating blanket. Ethan felt a scream rising in his throat, but he swallowed it down, knowing that panic would do them no good. His breath came in short, sharp gasps as he fought to keep his fear at bay. He reached out, his hand closing around Maya's. The touch was a lifeline, a reminder that they were not alone in this darkness. They had each other, and that was something.
Are you all right? Maya's voice was soft, filled with concern. She could feel Ethan's hand trembling in hers, and she squeezed it gently, offering what little comfort she could.
I think so. Ethan's voice was shaky, but he managed a small nod. The darkness was oppressive, but he knew they had to keep moving. But I think we're trapped. The realization hit them like a physical blow. The passage seemed to close in around them, the walls pressing in with a suffocating weight.
But even as she spoke, Mark was fumbling in the darkness. His hands searched the cold, damp walls, looking for any sign of a way out. He refused to believe that this was the end.
"I've got it!" His voice was filled with excitement and relief. In his hand, he held a small rusty key. It was their ticket out of this nightmare.
He exclaimed, his voice filled with relief. He had found the lantern. The small flame flickered to life, casting a dim light that chased away the worst of the shadows. As he lifted it, a faint light flickered to life, revealing a set of stone steps leading upwards. The steps were worn and uneven, but they were a way out. They had a direction, a path to follow. They had escaped the Collector, at least for now. The shadowy figure that had haunted their steps was left behind, but the fear lingered. They knew they couldn't stop, couldn't rest, but their journey was far from over. The path ahead was fraught with danger, and they had to stay vigilant. The forest loomed ahead, dark and foreboding, a reminder that their escape was only the beginning. The key they carried was only the beginning. It was a symbol of hope, a promise of freedom, but it was also a reminder of the challenges they still faced. They had to keep moving, keep fighting, if they were to truly escape.